we're looking at a volcanic crater here. This is absolutely amazing. And I'm going to explain a bit about shrinking Earth. So here I am over here. If we can move the camera over to moi, that would be awesome. Hi everyone, how you doing? It's Charles as usual. And you know what? We're going to explain the shrinking Earth because something weird happened only 30,000 years ago. And it was a once-in-a-million-year catastrophe. This is incredible because the site history of this place is phenomenal. We have these volcanic things all over Victoria. It says there are 400 volcanoes all over Victoria. Now, something happened in conjunction with the beginning of the last ice age. Just incredible. You see, 25 million years ago, this was an ocean floor. It says there were fossilized shark teeth found here during the Miocene, 25 million to 5 million years ago. Then something happened 5 million years ago. It's called the Quaternary, and the whole place basically froze over in Antarctica. Antarctica acquired its ice sheets. That's when it all happened. And it says there were sea sponges, brachiopods, mollusks, unbelievable. But then, what happened 4 million years ago? The Ice Age began. And with the Ice Age began, suddenly it's associated with all these volcanoes springing up over a large area. This is incredible. I think the Earth changed size. It may have expanded, it may have shrunk a little, it may have expanded, but we have volcanism popping up in conjunction with the Ice Age. I think the Ice Ages are caused by internal heat from the Earth. Not even from the sun, but internal heat from the internal sun, which is a lot closer to us than that thing up there. And all this was bubbling to the surface. We have a variable star inside the Earth. And then we had another shrink happening. Now it says here, Megafauna roamed 1 million to 30,000 years ago. The diprotodon, look, it says it's 2 meters high. Do you see how big that is? That's like a giant crazy wombat. Now the Aborigines have stories about these. We have this Phylacoleo weighed as much as a leopard. So we had these huge animals. I think the dinosaurs as well. That just happened to date to 30,000 years ago. The conventional people say that's an error. Something happened 30,000 years ago. The megafauna roamed the volcanic plain, and that's it. We have fossils from that time. Catastrophe. What's going on? The Earth shrank. And when the Earth shrank is when the Ice Age started to be interrupted again. And so in the last 10,000 years, we've had this last burst of warm activity. So what happened 30,000 years ago was a once-in-a-million-year event. It led to the rise of man, and the volcanism ended. So you change the temperature on Earth, the volcanism changes. And I don't think they've ever correlated these two before. But that's what's going on. So it's caused by something geological, which is changing the temperature. So I think that's causing the temperature changes. I think the shrink or expansion of the Earth is causing the changes, the fluctuations in the Ice Age. New theory. About this area, Aboriginal people lived here. Yes, yes, yes. Basically, we're on a triple volcanic system. You shrink the Earth, you change what the Earth is doing, you change the folds in the Earth, and you have lots of magma suddenly gushing to the surface because you've made a tear in the Earth. You've changed it. You've sheared it some way. And that could be an expansion, or it could be a contraction, because it depends on where the existing plates are at the time. And that's rather complex. But I think that's what's causing all the tectonic activity. They say it's caused by God knows what. I think it's obviously shrinking and expanding. That's what's causing tectonic activity. This is unbelievable. And this was all European. Let's just look at this area, this whole area here. In 1939, they took down every single tree. And they said, let's make it European looking. They planted cypresses and pines. In the late 90s, they said, no, let's tear it all down and make it European again. So they planted all these new plants here. Unbelievable, isn't it? Isn't that just crazy? But yeah, that's an interesting sculpture over there. Now, you'll be saying, Charles, why should, say, a shrinking Earth that you're talking about cause an Ice Age? Well, it's very elementary, really. What's happening is the water's got nowhere to go. If you change the size of the planet, the water's got nowhere to go. So Antarctica was established as an icy place simply because a circumpolar ocean current was established around it, which did not allow the intrusion of warm waters from the north. So it just turned into a refrigerator. It was unable to cycle. So that's what caused an ice age in Antarctica. So if you change the size of the Earth, you're changing the ocean current dynamic, you're changing where the waters are going, and that alone, I think, might even trigger the ice ages. I think that's enough. And that's one explanation. Now, shrinking Earth, what does that entail? You change the size of the Earth. The Earth's still spinning at the same speed, but there's more days in the year. So we went from 360 to 365 days. So the Egyptian calendar is 360 days. We have 365 days. We had this leap year problem for thousands of years, and we had this 5 days extra a year problem for thousands of years, and people didn't know what to do about it. So they had to add these days, and the system became less perfect, and they didn't know why. How could the ancestors have gotten it so wrong with their 360 delusion? At Tiwanaku, it seems there was a calendar of 290 days, or even 260 days. The Mayans had a 260-day calendar, and they had the most obscene, crazy mathematical system you've ever seen, that they themselves seem to have inherited rather than literally inventing on their own. Now, shrinking Earth could cause the uplift of Tiwanaku. Who wants to live up there at that crazy high elevation? That just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It can explain so much more. I think it can explain the ice ages as well. It can explain the mass extinctions, a polar tilt, and then a restoration of that. And then you have a new world, new ocean currents, possibly even a new temperature, because the variability of the internal sun has changed its temperature dynamic. I mean, you look at where the temperature on the Earth is coming from. You go up in the atmosphere, it gets freezing, right? You go down into the Earth, it's boiling. The temperature, I believe, is coming from down there. As I was taught by my Professor Ian Pliner back at university, who is a legendary figure, he said that the atmosphere doesn't contain much heat. It's all contained in the oceans. So it's getting into the oceans from somewhere. It's not the atmospheric blanket that's holding the heat. It's the oceans themselves. I think it's coming from up down below. I think the ice ages are causing the volcanism. The shrinking Earth is causing the volcanism. That's directly causing the ice ages, the ends of ice ages. It's all being caused. Everything is being caused by that internal sun. That's what I believe. Guys, what do you think about that? I think that's a great theory. And guys, what you're seeing now is evidence of the area cooling down, because we have a huge ridge all around. There's a ridge all around us, all around there. But inside that was the huge volcano, the initial eruption. But then what happened later on is there are tiny little volcanoes popping up. You see all these are called the scoria, which is just another word for the volcanic rock, which is uplifted. And these are all tiny volcanoes, those little volcanic bubbles, which didn't quite make it to the surface. This is absolutely incredible. And they're the most beautiful, weird rocks you've ever seen. They're sort of purple, but it's evidence of the area cooling down and the magnetism ceasing, because for some reason the impetus was no longer there. And we've got to ask why, because geology never explains why. I can explain it with the shrinking Earth. It stops shrinking, the pressure changes. It's as simple as that, really. And geology is in a mystery about this. It's like astronomy. Astronomers baffled because they don't know the electric universe. What do you think of that? And of course, the shrinking Earth can explain the Great Flood itself. Now, I think it was an event 30,000 years ago which ended the ancient giants and all these large creatures, and the reason for that is that the very tiny baby animals can breathe through their skin, diffuse oxygen through their skin, while their parents are being poisoned. And of course, the smaller the baby, the greater the chance of survival. So you have that selective mechanism there. And the shrinking Earth itself can of course explain the Great Flood. The Great Flood being sudden cataclysmic volcanic events. If you take the whole wide area of Victoria, all its volcanism, and you superimpose that on modern Africa, where in the 80s we had hundreds of kilometers apart, lakes suddenly upending and dissolved gases rushing out. This can be explained by a volcanic eruption underneath these lakes over a very wide area. We know this is still happening today. How more cataclysmic may it have been in the past? Are today's events a subset of what happened 30,000 years ago? And I think that is the time of the Great Flood. That is the time of the Carolina Bays as well. They may still turn out to be volcanoes rather than impacts from space, but who knows? Maybe there was a bit of both. And in addition, I think that was what was responsible for that was the Great Flood, as opposed to the more gradual, I suppose, increases of sea level in the last 10,000 years. I used to say that was, I suppose, Atlantis and all that. Yeah, it could be still, but if we're looking for a single cataclysmic event causing a mass extinction like described in the Bible, I'd have to say that thing that happened 30,000 years ago. Thanks very much, guys. Again, yes! Well, I hope you've enjoyed that little explanation of shrinking Earth, which I think fits into the expanding Earth theory. Guys, cheers and have a great day. Woo! Tell me what you think down below, and I'll see you in a future video very soon. Cheerio.
Hey everyone, I am a historian and a published author on Amazon. Check that out if you're interested. Also, don't forget to subscribe, share, and hit that bell. And I'm on Patreon if you would like to make a contribution. Cheers and have a brilliant day.